Welcome back. Members of the People's Democratic Party here in Nigeria are still coming to terms with the violence that attenders yesterday struggled to access the party's national headquarters in Abuja. Rise correspondent Mary Chinda followed all the drama unfold on Tuesday and is there again to give us an update. Mary, it's good to have you with us. What do you have for us at the moment?
Oh, good afternoon, Nee. It's almost 24 hours after the debacle, the drama, the showdown yesterday that we experienced here at the PDP secretariat. Early this morning, the police, and I'm told that it's the Inspector General's office, had barricaded this Wadata Plaza. You can see the huge wire barricade, wired barricade all over the place. It simply sends one message. No one can get entry to the party secretariat until maybe these issues are resolved. I've tried to speak with both factions, and I'm told by the Sam Anyanwu camp that they are not exactly aware, but this is done by the Office of the Inspector General of Police. And when I got in touch with the National Publicity, the Publicity Secretary of the Sheikh camp, that's the PDP, Ini Ememobong, he also told me that they have not been informed officially, but when they're informed officially, they will respond officially. Notice that the Tanimu Turaki, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki led NWC were supposed to have their meeting here today. Yesterday, the announced that they were going to have that meeting today, following the debacle of yesterday. But that meeting is nowhere in sight because the PDP, as it stands right now, the secretariat, under lock.
The Cherokee meeting that was supposed to hold today, of course, it's not taking place based on what we're seeing with the building being barricaded. Any word on what might be the outcome of that? If it's been postponed indefinitely, what do you have for us regarding that specific update?
Yes, it's as confusing as it comes because, yesterday the pro-Anyanwu Wike faction suspended both Tanimu Turaki, Kabiru Tanimu Turaki, and the Damagum and a couple of others, Chief Bode George, Sheyi Makinde, Bala Mohammed, and all of that. So minutes after that, the chairman was able to lay a hold of the office of the national chairman, and then, of course, the reminded journalists that they were going to be meeting today. But I have information that they're actually meeting somewhere that is very private, and they're not letting the media know. Nobody knows if that is the inaugural meeting that they are holding, but I'm told officially and authentically that they're having a meeting that may not be the inaugural meeting. We don't know what becomes of the inaugural meeting, but as it stands now, the PDP, after what happened yesterday, is under lock and key, and the National Secretary of the party, Senator Sam Anyanwu, is very much aware. His boys have been here today. I cited a couple of them. They are aware that this place is currently under lock and key. I had a bit of a conversation with the embattled National Secretary yesterday, Senator Sam Anyanwu, who told me that just coming again, you can see that the NSCDC just before I came on air, there's also being a lorry load rather of security. More policemen are being deployed here at the moment, and just opposite me, behind the camera, there are also a couple of boys wielding sticks, looking like hoodlums. And I suppose that is the reason the police is doubling its presence here today. The police sources that have spoken to me say that they've been asked to, stay here all day, and there's no backing down. I must tell you something. The front, what you're seeing here is just the entrance, to the secretariat. If we could go around the entire secretariat, what you're going to be seeing is this wired barricade, all over, the secretariat. There's also another gate that is the gate through which the chairman of the party drives in. So from this entry gate, which is the general entry point for everybody, to the other gate where the chairman drives in, everywhere is barricaded. This wired barricade, and the policemen are scattered all over the place. Other end, I don't know if you can see, but at the other end, you also find a police vehicle. Just right in front of me, there's another police vehicle. At the other extreme, there's also another police vehicle. Just if you go further down here, you can see that armored tank written police on it. So it's a heavy presence of police, and no one is surprised because of the showdown yesterday. Yesterday, it was police versus police. The police guarding the two governors, Governor Sheyi Makinde and of course Governor Bala Mohammed, against the police, that were guarding, that were sent to secure the National Secretariat.
All right, Mary, just before yesterday's debacle and the unending uncertainties regarding PDP, I'm sure the question on most people's lips is, who is actually in control of the PDP?
I got a lot of that question yesterday, being a spectator who has been following the happenings in the party very closely. And my answer then remains the same answer now that I'm going to give. I do not know. Nobody seems to know. Physically, the national secretary of the party, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, lays claim to this secretariat. He says that he said it in several media interviews that he's in charge, provided Wadata House is concerned, and he's in charge until December the 8th. But to also think that there are two courts, several, court cases. There's a federal high court, the one from the one where Justice Omotosho, there's that court case. There's another one in the federal high court by Sule Lamido, and of course, there was just another court judgment that we're also going to be here. We've not seen the end of, up until in Oyo State, up until December the 8th. So the two camps, are laying a siege on the PDP. But physically, at this secretariat, Senator Samuel Anyanwu is insisting that he's not a permanent secretary, so he cannot be fired by a convention that he calls a jamboree. He's insisting that this PDP, until the 8th of December. But again, being in charge of the secretariat and being in charge of the structure are two different things that, political analysts are, arguing over. But as I speak to you, if I were to answer that question in primary school language, this secretariat is being controlled by the national secretary, the embattled national secretary of the party, Senator Samuel Anyanwu.
Thank you, Mary. I have to ask you, though, of course, you gave us, at least you did your best to give us a scope or a view of how barricaded the building is all around. I'm just wondering, is there a timeline regarding how long this might go on until whatever looks like normalcy might be restored, regarding the barricading specifically?
Well, that's just not a question that you are asking alone. I mean, a lot of Nigerians and political spectators are also very anxious. They're asking the same question. But the answer right now is we do not know. Nobody has that answer until we see things unfold in the coming days and weeks. And I tell you what, I have insider information that this place was not supposed, the secretariat may not have been opened yesterday only for the fact, you know, that the Anyanwu faction wanted to have their BOT and their neck. And of course, you and I know that what was central on that for that meeting was just to announce the suspension of Sheyi Makinde, Bala Mohammed, Chief Bode George, and all of those things. Otherwise, they probably would not, because the secretary had mentioned that he had access. You know, he was laying siege to the secretariat, and other than that reason, the place may not have been open. Before now, 3 weeks ago, I brought to you the news as it unfolded, how the police had actually barricaded the place just a couple of days after the court judgment, and then the Abuja court judgment, and then the Damagum-led group had suspended the Anyanwu group had suspended the Damagum group, and all of that. So we do not know for how long, for sure, this barricade is going to be. We're all, you know, waiting to see how this unfolds. Remember that both factions are not backing down. Governor Sheyi Makinde was here yesterday alongside his colleague from Bauchi State, and they were ground standing. They were never going to leave this place until they had access to the building. And of course, the FCT minister, who is also a huge stakeholder in the party, was here for over 4 hours, 3-4 hours, and only after his camp had their neck meeting where they suspended the other governors and dissociated themselves, of course, with the Ibadan Convention, could he leave? So both parties are not, there's no olive branch right now. Both parties may not be talking about a reconciliation, because that's a question that I got to ask a couple of the chieftains of the party yesterday. Is there room for negotiation and reconciliation? Notice also that just less than 2 weeks ago, last Friday, I think, or last Thursday, the Reconciliation Committee report there was a reconciliation committee that was put together or commissioned by the BOT of the party. So they had submitted their reconciliation report. Part of what that reconciliation report was saying was that the Ibadan Convention should not hold, was that there should be a caretaker committee in the interim, and all of that. But that report was not considered by both sides as that convention went ahead and they held it. And of course, even when somebody like former Senate President, Senator Dr. Bukola Saraki, was advocating for them to hold on with the convention and see how there was going to be a means of reconciliation, all of that was not done. So the convention, they went ahead with the convention, and we've not had anything again from the report of that reconciliation committee. So with both factions not willing to, you know, put up the olive branch, nobody knows how soon, you know, this NWC, this new NWC, would be able to have their ways in the secretariat, knowing that the embattled national secretary of the party still insists that he is going to serve out his term. And I tell you what, yesterday we also observed that he was not alone. He was there with the national organizing secretary of the party, Umar Bature, who has repeatedly, you know, voiced his displeasure with the ways that the convention, the processes leading to the convention had gone on. The fact that he even as a national secretary, he was not allowed, you know, he was not privy to, you know, disbursing the nomination forms, you know, of all of the people who were even picking up forms. So he was there alongside the national secretary of the party, and those two members of the NWC are saying that the Damagum-led NWC may be dissolved, but for them, they are going to see to the end of this. They are not willing to back down until the 8th or the 9th of December, which is next month.
All right, Mary, just before we let you go, and this lack of cohesion at the national level, we're already seeing the reverberation in terms of the negative effect it's having on the state chapters as more of these state chapters are decamping to other parties. I'd like your thoughts on that. The average PDP member, what are they saying over this issue? Briefly on that.
Yes, you know that just last Saturday, one of the motions that were moved in that convention was for the executives of a couple of state chapters like Enugu, Abia, and Imo to be dissolved. To deepen the crisis, yesterday, the Anyanwu camp dissolved the executives in Oyo State, in Bauchi State, as though to get back at Sheyi Makinde. So they dissolved his ESCOs in Oyo State. To get back at Bala Mohammed, they also dissolved the ESCOs in Bauchi State, Ekiti State, and Lagos State, among others. So it's almost like, just like we saw the police versus the police here yesterday, we also have seen dissolution of state executive committees versus dissolution of other state executive committees. The battle seems unending, and the mindset or the common emotion among PDP members, would depend on whose faction or whose side or on whose camp the member is. But I'm sure that, for the 20% or the 30% or the whatever percent that seem to remain neutral, there's this despondency. There's this, oh, can we get our party working again? Oh, can there just be enough of the, ego fight or whatever fight that, that there is, and get this party working again. There's also, the average PDP member who is not on any of the camps would also be worried because the 2026 is the campaign year, and for a party that has been the longest in power, for Nigeria, I mean, there's so much more to be expected as an opposition party.
Indeed, there's a lot of expectation, but thank you for also fulfilling our expectation and making a full recovery after what you went through yesterday. We appreciate this update. Our correspondent, Mary Chinda, live from Abuja. Thank you.